friends, I am Rishi and today I have brought chapter first of biology, that is life processes, and we were just discussing about the transportation and we were on the blood vessels and we were discussing about blood pressure. So the pressure exerted by the blood on the surface of the vessels, that is known as blood pressure. So this blood pressure is measured by sphygmomanometer, and that device is consisting of a meter that shows how much blood pressure that your blood exerts on the walls of arteries, and it has a cuff that in which you pump the air, and we have the band like structure, and we just bend out this structure and cuff is attached to it. We just pump it out the air inside it, and after some time we will use the stethoscope to measure, to check out what is the this is a stethoscope. We will use it to check out how our heart is beating like and after checking, now we will check out what is the measurement on the meter, and if the measurement is 120 80 to 120 millimeter mercury, then we will say that it is the healthy blood pressure of a person. So maximum the blood pressure is minimum in the normal condition when it is relaxation, then it is 80 millimeter by mercury, and when it is contract, then it is 120 millimeter by mercury. So this is the blood pressure of the normal human being. So the relaxation of the normal, it is below 80 or up to 80. Maximum it can reach up to 90 at normal temperature when it is released, when blood vessels are when arteries are not contract, then it is 80, maximum 80 or 90, or it is below 80, just below 80. So this is the normal human blood pressure, and it is known as diastolic, and this is 120 millimeter by mercury. This is the blood pressure when our arteries are contracted, when they are contracted by this band or whatever. So when it is contract, when the arteries are closed up, then the blood supply to this whole part just cut off, so no blood will reach up to there. So it is exerting pressure on the walls of arteries. So after creating the pressure, it will just come closer, and the the path to the blood will be stopped. And when it will be stopped, it will exert much pressure because more blood is coming from there. So it will again pressurize, and it will reach up to the last point. And when it will reach, then we can see the when it is passing through this point, then we can see the readings 120, and when it will reach the last point, then it is 80. So we can use this device to measure the blood pressure, and the we can measure, it is in the ratio 120 by 80 millimeter by mercury. So this is the sphygmomanometer, and now we will move to our next topic, that is excretion. Firstly, let us start with the excretion in plants. So excretion in plants is of various types. They can be falling of leaves, falling of fruits, because they are unwanted products, because ripening of food, and just when they are rotting down, into the tree, then that is the waste product of the tree. It is of no use. That is why the swelled up fruits or the rotten fruits are falling down from the tree because they are of no use for the plant. So this is the excretion in plant, and it can be in the form of falling of leaves in autumn, because all of the leaves are falling down from the trees except the evergreen plants, because their leaves are never shading in the particular season. But normally all the deciduous trees have falling leaves in the autumn, and they are also the waste products because they turn yellow and they cannot make their own food. And if they will not make their food, so photosynthesis will not occur, then the plant cannot live. So it can produce new leaves instead of that old ones. So they are also waste products of the plants. And some are in the form of the water vapor. They are also waste products. They just evaporate that water in the form of transpiration. So this is also waste product in excretion in plant. And you have seen the latex, gum, and the resins which are coming down from the bark of the tree. When the bark of the tree is cut off, then some liquidy or yellowish, reddish, brown, white liquids are coming out from the plant, or generally plants have. So these are also the waste products of plants. They are of no use, and we use those products as our needs. We use rubber because rubber is made from latex, and that is the waste product of plant. Gum, we will use that gum in the adhesives, or we will make glue or fevicols. So they are also waste products. And resins are used to make the adhesives and used in paint industries, or used in making certain things to make plastic. So they are also waste products which are excreted from the plants. So some excretion takes place in the soil. They also release the water or waste or urea from their own body. So this is the excretion in plants. Now excretion in animals is taking place by the by certain organs, while in the unicellular there are the simple process. They are opening their particular cells, and then the waste products are removed from them, and where they are living there also the waste products are released. So this is the simple excretion. But in the multicellular organisms and animals and humans especially, so they have the particular organs to excrete the various products or waste products from their body. So let us understand what are the waste products in animals. So now let us learn about in excretion in animals. So in animals they are using the different organs, specialized organs. So this is the diagram in the excretion in animals. So especially in humans, this type of excretory system is in the human beings. So different organisms such as earthworms, if we take earthworms, so earthworms also excrete from their skin because they breathe through their skin, and they excrete also from their skin. So the moisty skin of earthworm is due to their excretion. So that is their waste products, mainly urea, uric acid, nitrogenous waste. So that is the waste products of the earthworm. And similarly in the other animals and in humans, the same type of excretion is followed. The excretion process is mainly removing carbon dioxide, nitrogenous waste, amino acids, and water salts, the nitrogenous waste, and urea, uric acid. So such wastes are produced in our body, and to remove that waste, the excretory system is working in human beings. So firstly, these two bean shaped kidneys are present in our excretory system, and in these kidneys the blood is filtered. The blood is being carried out by this blue color vein, that is the inferior vena cava. It is the vein which is bringing the blood from the lower part of the body. So inferior vena cava brings out the impure blood or deoxygenated blood into the kidneys, and here in the kidneys the blood is filtered. The nephrons are present inside the kidneys, that are the small capillaries but not capillaries. They are nephrons which are present in millions of number, and they are making a single kidney. And kidneys are present just besides the our backbone. Just beside the backbone our kidneys are present. So now the blood is pure. Now when the blood is filtered, when urea, uric acid, amino acids and such nitrogenous wastes are removed, when they are purified, when blood is filtered, then it is carried by this red color artery, that is aorta. It is the major artery which is carrying blood to the southern or the lower part of the body. So the impure blood comes into the kidney, and when it is pure, then it is moved to the artery and it is carrying pure blood. So this is the excretory system. Now where to release this blood, release these waste products? So we have to release some waste products. They can't be stored in the kidney. So in the kidneys they are brought back by the ureters. So these are the small pipe, long pipes, and inside these pipes the urine, it is formed, urines are formed. So they are carrying the urine and it comes into this sac-like structure or balloon-like structure which is known as urinary bladder. In this bladder the urine is stored until it is removed, and after when it is filled up completely, then it is excreted by urethra. So this is the excretory system of the human beings. So inside the kidneys we have, this is the inferior vena cava and this is the aorta and this is the kidney. So kidneys are kidneys are the group of millions of nephrons. So these are present in nephrons are present inside the kidneys, and they are purifying the blood, the impure blood or the deoxygenated blood into the pure blood, and removing the waste products from the blood. They are making pure blood, and then pure blood is circulated into our body by the heart. So this is the excretory system, and these nephrons are present in millions of numbers. You can't imagine how much hard working they are. And suppose that if the kidneys are not working, or they got damaged, then what happens? So single kidney can manage the whole, can purify the blood of the whole body. Two kidneys are present, because in case one got wrong or other got wrong or it fails out, then another can do that same work on its own. So that is why two kidneys are present for the upcoming time. So for in case it is damaged, then other can work alone. So this is the excretory system in human beings, and same as in the animals such as cow, goat, deer, lion, and such excretion processes are taking place in those animals also. If in case both the kidneys are failed or damaged and they got damaged, then what happens? Both the kidneys are damaged. Then the nitrogenous waste and amino acids and the uric acid, urea will get into our body and it cannot be removed. And in case this waste is not removed, then we can die also. So it is very important to remove that waste. So there is the artificial kidneys, which is known as kidney dialysis. By the process of kidney dialysis, we are purifying our blood when kidneys are not working. So at that time we are using kidney dialysis, which is a box-like structure or the setup where the semi-permeable membrane or the SPM or the plasma membrane, it is artificially made plasma membrane, and inside it tubes are present. And when the blood vessels are connected to that tubes, and when the blood is carried to that tubes, when impure blood is carried to that tubes, then it gets around the semi-permeable membrane, and the semi-permeable membrane acts as the original, and it takes out the urea or uric acid, amino acids, and whatever nitrogenous wastes are there, and it is cleaning all the blood. And when blood is cleaned, then it is sent back to our body. So this is the process how the in case both the kidneys are failed, then what happens, what should be done to prevent the increase of amino acids or waste, nitrogenous waste, urea, uric acid. So the kidney dialysis are used, the process is used to prevent the coming of storage of these harmful waste. So in case if a person has damaged both of their kidneys, then kidney transplantation can also take place. Kidney is transplanted to another person's kidney. So this is known as the organ donation. Organ donation is something when we are dead. After our death, our body is kept into the hospitals, and we have to make sure that our body is not getting down to be buried or to be burnt and whatever. So it is not going to be damaged. Our organs are after our death, our organs are replaced by the living organisms, because we are dead, and the person who is suffering from serious diseases, or suppose that both kidneys are failed, then our kidneys will be removed and it will be it will be put down into that into that sick person or ill person. So this is the organ donation. We can donate our organs when we are alive also. We can donate our single kidney, because single kidney can manage the can purify all of our blood. So one kidney can save another person's life. So why not to donate organs? So we should donate organs, and we should donate blood also, because whatever blood group we have, the same person is matched with that blood group and it is given that blood. Because in case of injury or the serious accidents, this blood is taken out by that person, and our blood is removed from our body. For that, we should for donating our organs or for donating our blood, we should keep in mind that our body should be healthy. It should not get any of the diseases at the time of donating. We should not have any of the diseases, otherwise that disease will transfer to that person to whom the organs or the blood is being carried out by that person. So doctors firstly check that whether the person is healthy or not. If he is not healthy, or if he is sick, or if he has weakness, if he has not proper immune system, then doctors just reject that person, and they suggest to maintain their body after some time when your body will be recovered, then we will take out blood from you. Otherwise, it is not important to donate blood. If you are healthy, then please donate blood, because single drop of blood can save one person's life. So we have completed our chapter, and now thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned from the video and also motivated to donate organs. You can donate organs by living or after your death. So instead of burning or burying the dead organisms or the dead bodies, we can donate our organs and save one's life. Because when we are burning our body, then what happens? Air pollution is increasing nowadays, so it is not good to burn the dead bodies and burying. Then there is no spaces to bury now in the corona time. So there are no spaces, no ground left for burying the dead bodies, and for even burning, wood is not available nowadays. So I think it is a very long process, and organ donation is the best, because after donating our organs, they are preserved, and who is suffering from that illness or that serious disease, then the organs can be removed from our body and put out and placed to that person. So we should donate our organs, and it is a good habit. So thanks for watching this video.